Hello, everyone. So today I bring you the Central Park in San Myshuno, and I probably just killed that pronunciation, but still learning to talk with this flipper. Um, yeah, give me time, guys. So anyway, I have been wanting to do this build for quite a while, and it is a long one. So I suggest if you want snacks and a drink, pause now, go get those, and come back and see me when you're ready. So anyway, as I said, this park I've been wanting to do for a while, and I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do with it. However, I ended up doing more than what I thought I would, and it turned out better than what I first envisioned it being. So, always a good thing. Definitely happy with how it turned out. My goal with this was kind of to make it a place that you could go with your Sims and spend all day and, actually have fun here. So I hope I accomplished that. If you download it and use it, let me know if I did. I'd love to hear feedback. So here you can see I wanted to create a kind of boardwalk feel right here with the Ferris wheel and all that stuff. I think I did it. I think I accomplished it. By the end, I play around with this section quite a bit throughout the build. I do jump around. I am going to warn you, there is lots of jumping around and decision making being done. I also did edit out quite a bit from this build, so you'll see things appear randomly. But it's just kind of the way it was. This was a very long build. If I had left it unedited completely, this would have been almost a 2-hour video, I think. It was crazy. So, yeah. I did decide here because I tried multiple fountains right here and I just didn't like the look of any of them. I wanted this to be kind of a statement piece, but not too over the top. So I decided to build my own fountain. I love this thing. I will attempt to maybe get it saved as something, maybe a lot. It won't work as a room, but I might save it as like a lot thing that you can put on the lot to start. You can't add it to a lot doing it that way, but you could start with this fountain. But I really love this. I think it fit the vibe of this park perfectly. And what you'll see as we go through the build is I kind of wanted to create a feel of this is an old park that they've added things to throughout the years. So there's definitely a section, and mostly it's the right side of the park if you're standing at the entrance. And that area is like the older, maybe Victorian type area of the park with a few updates here and there. Where the Ferris wheel is, that was added on later. There is like a play area for the kids, stuff like that. All that was maybe built up later. It was maybe more of an open park for a while. So that's kind of where the vibe is for this. So keep that in mind as I play around with how this is set up. But I really think it's a good park for your Sims to just go hang out at. I really think that the parks that come in these worlds don't have a whole lot to them, and part of that is because they have to keep them pack specific. But being able to go ahead and add whatever packs is so helpful. So yes, by the way, multiple packs, not sorry. Okay. I might do one that's just city living at some point, but as I said, I really wanted to do this one. So, all right, so here what I'm working on now is I wanted to do a wedding area. And I thought originally I'm going to fence this off and make it, this own little space where you could lock people out of, but I didn't like how it looked. So instead, I started just putting stuff out and going from there. So I do love this area. I think it is the perfect little wedding spot. When I play tested this, which I actually did throughout the making of this park, the Sims would come over here now because we have the Love Struck pack and sit on these benches and stargaze and skywatch and all this stuff. It was really kind of cool. So it's nice to see that it can be used outside of a wedding. It is kind of blocked off. You could easily get all the Sims into this area, go into build mode, and block it off for your wedding to keep, other Sims out. However, it is not actually blocked off. I didn't like the look of a fence there, and you'll understand what I mean when, more of this build gets done. But, it's definitely a very fun, cute area for a wedding. All right, so here I played around with a few things, and I really wanted these candles here in the background. As I said, I wanted to kind of create a fun little space. And right here, this pathing, decided the pathing for this entire side of the park. I was not intending on doing it that way, but I did, and I like it. So the other fun thing with this is it's very easy for your own weddings to go through and change the color schemes, just change out the flowers a little bit, or just leave it as is and have a nice garden wedding. I tried to make it more neutral-ish, some color, but not anything too crazy, and I think I succeeded there. This is another thing of me trying fencing and deciding eventually that I absolutely hate how it looks and changing that out. It just didn't go with the vibe I was aiming for, which was very more of a country garden type feel, not, I don't know, city garden, which I should have been because it's city living, but I think I still pulled off a good compromise between the two, the two building styles, I guess, or decorating styles, however you want to consider those. And yeah, I think I pulled that off pretty well. I also put in a lot of fun decor. As I said, this is one of my favorite areas of the park. It took a while to do, but once it was done, it just ended up very pretty. So hopefully this will give you some good wedding photos and fun gameplay. So, there's that. I will say you may not love me for the next part of the wedding, which is the reception, because that area is completely open to the rest of the park. Again, if you wanted to, you probably could kind of cordon it off, but yeah, you'll have other people coming to your wedding, I'm sure. Other Sims, because that's what they do. So keep that in mind. But again, it was more of a look thing. If you wanted to, I'm sure you could go and section off this whole area fairly easily, so that other Sims wouldn't be able to come in and join your wedding. So here I had really wanted to use this gondola, thing from. It's not a gondola. I know what that is, and my mind has blanked. But I wanted to use that and then just realized it wasn't going to work for what I wanted to do. So just made my own, and I like it. I think it makes it look a little more like, this has been here for, a century or so, century and a half. And yeah, I think it just worked out looking a lot better. So I do use these lights quite a bit. These are the ones I think from, maybe it's like, I can't remember which pack it is. Like it's for kids, like little kids or something, like an outdoor thing, I think is what the pack these ones are from. I use those quite a bit throughout this build. I also use the lights from high school years quite a bit throughout this build as well. So yeah, as I said, multiple packs. So the other thing here, I did put a table under this area, and there's a dance floor. If it rains during your wedding, I'm sorry, there's not a whole lot of seating under, cover, but it's okay. It's okay. There's umbrellas on the tables. Your Sims will be fine. All right. There just wasn't a lot of room, and I really wanted the dance floor, DJ area covered. So I thought that was more important than, your Sims not sitting in things. So, all right. I also want to point out some of the stuff you'll see, even at this point, that's sitting out here disappears. Just because it didn't work well or didn't work at all. So the gazebo there by the lake, that will be going away because I could not seem to get it to work. I've done that before and it's worked fine. So I don't know if it's like a bug in the game or what, but I gave up. It just was not going to work with me. So, yeah. All right. So the other thing with this park, especially on this side of the park, I really wanted to create some more like romantic areas since we now have the Live Struck pack. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. And I thought being right here near the wedding venue was kind of a good place for this. This side I kind of pictured as more of the gardens. It's the older side of the park where, they had weddings. They, you had more of your stuff. And then I envisioned the other side was just kind of empty for picnics. Maybe there were some trees over there, but they decided to add on to the park. So that's kind of what my thought process was. And as I go through this build, you'll see that kind of come to life. And I really, really took my time with this one. Not as much as some builds. I just now finished up the houses for that fantasy/occult village I'm doing. I still have some landscaping to do, but that'll be coming next month. So if you've been waiting for that, I know it's been a long time. I want to say I talked about doing that in I don't know, February or March. Maybe it was a little bit later. I'm not sure. But it's not too crazy. I've been doing other builds in between, of course, because they're posted and you can see that. But yeah, I've tried to take some time with that one, but I also did with this, and this one probably took me about 2.5 weeks to do. And that was working on it pretty much consistently. I did stop to do a small build. I'm trying to think which one I did. I did the build you will be seeing on Tuesday because guess what? Summer's over for me this week. And I will start the 2 videos a week again. So Tuesday will be a house build for my new legacy challenge, which will be posted on Friday. So make sure to check that out. It is an occult legacy challenge. So excited to do that. That was viewer voted. And yeah, it was fun. I got the first video done yesterday. I'll be doing the second one after that, the day after that video goes up. So make sure to check it out and leave comments. Let me know what you think. So the other thing is, originally I was not planning on doing this building here. So this is something that came up. I was scrolling through social media, looking at things, and a few people posted their builds of conservatories. And I went, I'm in trouble, because now I want to put a conservatory in here because it fit. So that is what I did. I played with this quite a bit. It was a labor of love, a labor of, this is not how this is going to work. And you can see here, there's going to be a lot of jumping around in the build, because I edited some out, but I also just hit pause and went, because this isn't working. And so, yeah, bear with me on that. But that's a lot of it. It's just one of those things that this would have been such a long video if I had allowed myself to just go ahead and show you everything I tried to do. But it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. I made a lot of different changes in here, so those I'm trying to show you, like this roof. I loved how this kind of looked, but as I went on with the build, I realized that it wasn't going to work out the way I wanted it to. So eventually it kind of changes a little bit. I get rid of the inner roof. The rounded part stays. So, it still has the same look. I also very much wanted the greenhouse type effect with this. So again, picturing a kind of Victorian, Edwardian conservatory, and I hope I pulled that off. This is also a good place where if it's raining, there's some activities in here to do. So, your Sims, if they come here, are not necessarily stuck, in the rain all the time. So, that being said, it is a small building, so if everybody's in there, it's going to be crowded. But we know how that works. It'll be fine. There's a couple covered areas you can go hide in. So I do also want to say, with this conservatory, I have put it onto its own lot and will be uploading it as its own thing, because I just thought it was that cool. So look for that on the gallery as well. I loved it. I put so much time into it. I wanted you to be able to download just this itself. You can use it on its own lot, or you can add it to your builds. Again, it's not going to be a room, because that would be ridiculous to try to do, but add it before you start building, and there you go. So the other thing is that light does disappear because it just floats. So decided that probably wouldn't be a good idea with how you would use this build. I've done that in homes, and that's a little different, where, it's not quite as noticeable, but yeah. In here, it was just a floating chandelier when you were trying to, play on the main level. So yeah. So yeah, here is kind of the greenhouse aspect. The two sides are where I put greenhouse type things. So, and a couple of activities. So in here, it's the garden area with the flower arranging table and, just some plants. I did go through and add, some plants your Sims can plant. That being said, again, I did play test this throughout. I haven't looked to see if any of the Sims went and planted those plants. More than likely they did, so they may already be planted for you. Okay, so this side of the greenhouse is going to have your trees. And I also put in the nectar making station. So that is over here as well. And I just wanted this to be kind of your, greenhouse / conservatory type thing. And I think it looks good. I like it. I like the feel of it. I like that, there's stuff for your Sims to do. You can come here and get some cool things. But also, I just like that, it's a pretty build. So we'll go with that. I also decided to put that telescope in where I originally had that gazebo that wasn't working with me. So yeah. I do change these tables out. I decided not to use them. They don't really fit the vibe eventually that I was going for. So I went a little more modern looking with it. I decided at one point I wanted game tables in here, but not these. So I put one of the normal game tables in and also added a table for the new Love Struck games because I thought that would be fun. Of course, go ahead and feel free to put whatever you want in here. You can see here I'm kind of trying to get this a more open kind of feel. And I will say I play around with some stuff on the outside of this as well and had to redo some things at one point, but this is the look. This is kind of the finished idea of this build and absolutely love it. That's one of the reasons I did go ahead and make it its own lot so that, I could even put it into some other builds that I do. So why reinvent the wheel if it's already there, right? So that's kind of the thought process with that. So you can see here I changed out the game tables, made it a little more colorful too. I think it was just looking too white and, I was like, okay, I can't keep doing that. It's got to have a different look to it. So here you can see just kind of finishing up some detail work with this and playing around with these, just the different looks on the outside. I do take off some of that. Oh gosh. Guys, I can't think of the name of it. I'm not even going to try. We're just going to skip that because my mind has blanked completely. But you'll see what I'm talking about. The decorative stuff on the outside in the middle will go away because, as you can see right there, it ends up ruining my inside. So I take that off and redo it. It looks good. So here, again, using a lot of the romantic garden pack on this side of the park. Mostly because it just fit the vibe I was going for. Again, I wanted kind of a romantic feel to it. And yeah, I think I pulled that off pretty well in here. I also decided right here would be a cool spot for like a fountain, pond, something. This is a fountain that I kind of try to make into a pond looking item. So I pulled it off. I'm happy with it. It looks really cool in here. And yeah, I do jump around here. Mostly because sometimes I just can't figure out what I want to do with it. So keep that in mind. I come here, I do a few things, and then I, change my mind. So I absolutely love these little fountain rocks that came in the new kit. Okay, guys, I can't think of names of things anymore, so sorry, not sorry. Okay. But it came in one of the newer kits, and I think it just works so well to make a natural looking fountain. So I used it. I like it. And now I'm just kind of trying to get the outside of this done because my intention is to lift this up so you have stairs going into it. So trying to get that figured out. This build alone took me 3 days to do, I think. And a lot of that was dealing with the roof. Just a lot of roof work with this one. So the other thing is, again, I wanted this to look more like a country feel than a necessarily like, inner city, well manicured, park. So it's got a lot more natural looking elements. There's a few more planned out looking areas, but not too many. It's just something that, I like. I like a more natural look to things, so I tend to gravitate toward doing those. At some point, I will try to do a more planned out landscape scheme. I know how to do them. I just don't. I try to, and then, I change my mind. It always happens. So here I'm working on kind of a little rose garden area. Just for something a little different. I thought this was a good spot for it. And this is another favorite little area. It's just, a nice little place for your couples to go. I know it doesn't look like it right now, but I promise it will be. But that was kind of the thought process, was just a nice little area that a couple could go and enjoy themselves. So that was the plan there. And you can see me playing with it. And then I kind of am sitting here going, okay, do I want to do, more planned? But I decided I didn't like the idea of doing the borders around it. Just didn't look right to me for this one. So here I decided I wanted to use the archway and put in a bench. And that's why I kept saying it's a good little spot for couples. So they can kind of come out here and, enjoy themselves. So hopefully that's what they'll do. I am noticing as I play more and more with the Love Struck pack installed that just seems to be a thing couples do. So that makes me happy. So I'm hoping they will use that area. And of course, I have to put in, the lighted trees. So there's that. That goes in a couple spots, actually. And I just like how that looks. So I'm getting a little more lighting. Just kind of debating on how I wanted that all to look there. But it's a cute little area. Also decided that lighting here, I played quite a bit with lighting, and it just didn't want to work with me. So yeah. I eventually got it. I eventually did it, and it was all good. And yeah, so little fountain areas, just little areas that I don't know, would be good for, photos for those of you who love taking photos. And just to make it, feel more like a kind of romantic type park. Because, the Victorian era was kind of known to do these types of parks where, you just had really nice flower gardens. And a lot of people would think of that as more of a romantic type setting. So just doing that here. Same thing with this little area. I'm just kind of filling this all in. just to create some cool little spots that you can take your Sims on a date, etc. So you can see there I had to get rid of that area, or that decorative thing that I still can't think of the name of. And then here I thought it would be really cool to put in a mini chess set, I guess, garden chess set, because that is something that was common in Victorian times, is to have these little areas. And I love these because they light up. So I was trying to figure out how I wanted to do it. Originally, I thought, oh, let's have it open. So, you can kind of go in there, and then I bordered it off. But I go back and play with it a little more later. Just saying. Mostly because I figured out I needed stairs over there. And I couldn't put them straight out because I'm at the edge of the property. So I had to put them sideways. And it just, I don't know, it looked kind of funny here. So thought about what to do. Eventually I come back to it. And I love how that turned out as well. So here, just kind of figuring out what fencing I wanted to put here. I could not decide, but I finally thought, let's do stone. And I think that worked really well. Again, because that's more than likely what would have been used during the time that was supposed to have been built. So now just finishing up this little area, and what I decided to do here was create another gathering space. So I decided to go ahead and put in a fire pit and a couple of benches, and hopefully nothing catches fire. But it'll probably happen. But that's why the fountain's there, right? All right, so I put that little gazebo over the chess set and loved how that looked. So that went through real quick. There's a picture at the end. You guys can see it a little bit better. But I was going to put that here and decided this looked more fitting for the area. So this area, I struggled with what to use here. As you can see, I do end up going with the glass. And then just creating a cool little, covered area for some more chess tables. Now, again, you can replace whatever you want with these. I just put in chess tables because I thought it would be cool. If you have high school years, you have the chess club, maybe you guys can go, or you have a chess club for get together. You can come here and play chess. So that's fun. Yeah, just some fun little areas here to do things. And again, playing with the lights. I use these lights quite a bit. I think I've said that already, but I did. But they're so useful. I really wish we just had walls that were these lights. Sims team, just make that happen. Walls that are those lights. That would make me happy. So, I do also want to say, this bridge. This bridge, I changed probably 10 times. So, you'll see me playing with it here. It changes again. I cut out most of my changes, but I left a few in. So yeah, so kind of trying to play with this a little bit. This boardwalk area to get these lights in. I believe I end up actually taking these lights down eventually and using different ones, but yeah. We'll see. I can't remember if that was the section that I did this with. So up here by the fountain, kind of playing around with a few different options to just kind of create some interest here. So I put this clock up on a platform with the intention of putting some plants around it. just again to make it look a little more like it's supposed to be, you know, kind of focal point area. Then around that, I left most of the rest of that kind of like open so you could put a blanket there. I did stick a blanket there at one point. I think at the end I removed it, but I just wanted to make sure that like the new Lovestruck blankets that you can get would fit. It does fit there. There's another area I do that with, but I left the blanket. So yeah, it's kind of trying to bring in all that, the new gameplay that I think is just a lot of fun from Lovestruck. And I also wanted to create some cool little areas like, now you can have a sim that would come play, or you can play if you get there quick enough. And just these little like areas that you can have some vendors. I have a mod that brings in vendors, but if you can't use mods, you'll have to hire for all these, though I do understand if you just remove some. But yeah, there's quite a few spots for vendors, but if you just spend a little bit of money, it's not that much. If you don't use cheats, you'll have to, I don't know, sell something. Find something and sell it. But yeah, it just has that vibe. As I said, I wanted that kind of boardwalk vibe over by the Ferris wheel, and in order to do that, I needed vendors. So we have that, and then here is what I'm just going to call a stage. So I have set this up as a musician's stage. However, you could also do like an outdoor movie thing here if you wanted to. I might do that and upload that as a room. So look for that. As of recording, I haven't done that yet. But I just thought about that, and I might do that so that it has the outdoor movie screen from the kids pack, or I think there's the movie stuff pack or something that I could use too. So look for that as a room on the gallery. I'll probably go do that after I record this, just to have that option as well. That's easier to put in because, I know some people just can't build, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's why I'm here, and others. It's not just me. All right, so just kind of adding, tables in and making this that kind of the spot you go and eat at. Again, boardwalk feel. So doing that. Putting some trash cans around as I realized I hadn't done that yet. And still, just figuring a few things out. So I did decide I wanted to put a dock here. And I end up playing around with this dock quite a bit because I wanted you to be able to fish off of it. And silly me forgot that the fishing thing is weird if you have an elevated dock. So I can't remember if I recorded it or I just fixed it off camera, but eventually I fix it. It works. Again, play tested as I went through this build because I wanted, as I was doing this, to make sure that the build worked and I wasn't recording a bunch of stuff that wouldn't work. But you see a lot of what I did and then changed. So I've done some editing, but I didn't do anything too crazy. So just, deleted the parts that took forever. Like I sat there watching these parts going, this is boring. All I'm doing is going through the catalog. This is boring. All I'm doing is playing with the roof for, 10 minutes sped up. Stuff like that. So here you can see again playing with the bridge. And this, adding the stairs in, kind of set off a thing as I realized that I didn't like how these lights looked anymore. So played around with a few more and still wasn't sure I loved how that looked. So I went ahead and used the lights again from high school years. Put those on, absolutely loved the way they looked, but decided that we needed, a little something more here to make this bridge stand out. So put in the columns and up the lights, and I absolutely love this thing. It looks so cool. And as you can see, I did take those lights down. Played around with this a little bit as to how I was gonna make this all look. And the lights really made me change how this was a little bit. I noticed my little covered area there was off. So changed that, updated that, put in these lights. And I think that really helps kind of create that boardwalk feel. They don't quite meet up in areas, so I took them off of a couple spots, and it works. It looks good. Again, if we had this as like a wall option or the, something that would be cool. Just saying. All right. So also just kind of putting in, more lighting because we need more lights always. Lighting creates a mood. And I wanted to create kind of a fun mood over here and then a more romantic mood. And I'm telling you, these string lights that they have just help so much with that. I did debate about using the ones that came in City Living. However, they just didn't fit the vibe I was going for. So yeah. And then here, just kind of playing around with the fencing because I decided I didn't like it. And ended up with using this fencing from Snowy Escape. And I think it fit the look I was going for here. So that ended up pretty cool. I do want to say I put this bench in here just as like decoration, and every time I play tested this after that, the Sims went to that bench by the Ferris wheel and started, cloud gazing or stargazing, whatever, gazing. So I did add this photo booth. I can't remember if these work outside. So hopefully they do. I'm hoping. Because, it's outside. And I didn't cover it. So, and I didn't have a thunderstorm to test it out with. So, yeah. If it doesn't work, we'll have to cover that, right? But anyway, then also now over to the kids area. So we have the splash pad here. And I'm going to get a park, play area in here. I am very well aware that toddlers don't usually come to the parks. Again, I have a mod that helps with that. But if you don't have that and you want to remove the toddler stuff, go ahead and do so. I don't know, add in something. I don't know what you'd add there. I think I got, pretty much everything you'd need in a park in there. I did use the spaceship one because there's actually the pirate ship off to the side of this lot that you can check out. But I wanted there to be an actual play park here. Because I could add more stuff to it. So that was the thought process there. It ended up not having enough space. I didn't really think about how big these items were. So it's kind of a cramped park, but I think it works. It still looks good. I'm still pretty happy with it. All right, so this is me jumping back over to the other side of the park and creating another little kind of romantic spot. This overlooks the pond. You have, some trees covering it, a little bit of privacy. That was kind of the goal with this. So, nice little romantic spot for your Sims to enjoy. You know, maybe this is where the couple that's getting married wanders off for a few minutes, right? I had thoughts when I built this, okay? You'll also see me playing with quite a bit of stuff, just kind of seeing what will work, what will fit, what will look good. But yeah, I absolutely love this little spot. It's just perfect. It turned out better than what I originally thought it would. Again, this wasn't something I planned on because when I first thought of doing this part, Love Struck didn't exist. So, not something I originally planned on, and I'm happy the pack was out when I did this park because it definitely influenced quite a bit of my decisions for things to do. So now just kind of, creating this area, making it look really good. Trying to add a little more privacy into it. We know the Sims don't care. I mean, they just don't. But, get that kind of vibe. I think it's just a nice romantic type spot. So it works out well. I also really love using these bushes from Cottage Living. Just a heads up, if you have that pack, those are in debug. And I love them. So I tried these lights here, and I believe they're from the same pack that the string lights are from. They're like a little camper's kit, I think is maybe what those all are from. I end up taking those out and putting in other ones just because they're not bright enough. So yeah. So you can see me here trying all these different things to kind of create a different look. I gave up. It stays kind of the way it was there. Just because I didn't like the view. Because if you're playing, you're going to be looking at your Sims that are sitting there from the pond. So I didn't want to block anything there either. So here, just kind of adding in some more, greenery, landscaping, trying to make this look like, maybe it's been there for a while. This is an area they just kind of let grow a little crazy. Not too crazy, but a little. And again, another little garden area. My original plan was just to have some plants here and create a nice little garden spot. But eventually I realized that I wanted something else there. It was just too low to the ground. So I started playing with statues and some different things in debug and just kind of trying to figure out something that would elevate this. So checked out the vampire stuff, didn't like that, loved this. I thought this was fitting, so we can be like, this is the founding father of the city or something. All right, so again, just kind of more landscaping at this point in time. Finishing up the build, actually. So lots of landscaping, lots of just, moving things around, making sure they're what I actually want them to be, and it has that look I want. And just kind of playing around with this. Now, as I said, I do play with the dock here a bit. And I also eventually realized that I wanted some grilling areas. That was my intent from the beginning, and I forgot to put them in. So I do go through and add those. I'm not sure if I do that on camera or not. We will see, because I know we only have not much time left, so I may have done that off camera. But they're there. They exist. I put them in, and yeah, they work well where they're at. And you'll probably see them in the photos. I can't remember if I actually focused on them. So yeah, like I said, I made a few changes, and you'll see those if you download it for sure. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys look at the photos, and I will be right back. All right. So that is the new park for San Myshuno. I do. I think this is a really pretty park. I think it's kind of been fun to spend a little bit of time in. I haven't, taken my Sims to play in it yet, but I play tested it. So I'm pretty happy with it. Let me know your thoughts on this build in the comments below. And don't forget to check out my new legacy challenge next Friday. All right. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. I will see you next time. Bye now.